But it's really what you believe, right? We know more about the student and their potential, but it's more about them being able to see it within themselves.
Welcome to Carrie On, the show where we explore reinvention, self-discovery, and empowerment before, during, and after midlife. I'm your host, Carrie Murray. It's time to keep our head above the chaos and carry on. What if the most important leadership training wasn't happening in conference rooms or in corner offices, but in conversations with teenagers? Today's guest, Kesha Knighten Hughes, has spent nearly 2 decades doing the work many systems ignore, equipping young people, especially teen girls of color, with the confidence, critical thinking, and life skills they need before the world tells them who to be. As the founder of the Grace and Wisdom Institute, Kesha is filling the gap schools often leave behind. This isn't about fixing kids. It's about equipping them. It's not about preparing them to fit into broken systems, but giving them the tools to imagine and build better ones. As a former teacher and principal, I'm thrilled to have Kesha here today. Welcome, Kesha. I, as you know, built my own school a while ago because I also saw gaps in the public school system, especially here in Los Angeles. And not because the teachers weren't great, not because they didn't all have the same goal, but it's a broken system. And if you really think about the education system right now, it's our mothers' mothers were in this same system. Same, marginalized, you're in this hole, you do this, you're going to go down this path, and never challenged, never really given anything more than what this prescription, because you are now a 7th grader, an 8th grader. And so when I met you through Crystal, which was amazing, how did you eventually meet Crystal?
A women's empowerment networking event.
Very nice, very nice. Love that. Kesha is also a member of BRA and was the recipient of a grant from our Women on the Rise. And when Crystal introduced you to me, I knew immediately, going to your website, your background, knowing that you were working with teen girls, that, we need to be friends. Then later, I believe you met Kat Curry-Williams,
yes,
with She Angels.
Yes.
Who we've had on the show. Everybody go watch that one. And then the 2 Peacocks, Sandy and Anna.
Yes.
So Kesha is a perfect example of how collaboration can really elevate you to the next level, whether you're building a business, whether you're building a nonprofit. But now, enough about me and our history. Tell me, what was the catalyst? Was there like a moment when you're working with your own teens that you were like, okay, something's got to change. I got to do something about this.
Yes. It actually started pretty early when my first antenna went up. And that was actually when my daughter, who's my oldest, was in 5th grade. And we were preparing them. They're the big kids now, and they're going to be transitioning to middle school, which is scary all in and of itself. But she would just say some things that the kids were doing or weren't doing. I would look at the parents and see how they were kind of coddling still. And I had concerns.
Yeah.
So, this isn't going to be good for the kids. But when she told me her friends didn't have chores.
Wow.
But these are double digits. You're in the double digits now.
Wow.
And these are not children who, these are, pretty well-rounded, super diverse magnet school. The kids have their activities for the most part, where they use whatever the school provides. But there were enough parents involved and present that was alarming for me.
Yeah. That reminds me, River, take out the trash, to remind my son.
That seems to never.
It always builds up. It's like laundry. It's never done. Okay. And then your daughter's mentioning these things at a very young age. Mm-hmm. So she's aware of it.
Yes. She was trying to convince me that maybe she shouldn't have them.
Right. Let me present an argument why I don't need to do chores. So that was probably the first little young person that you observed and were a little, your antenna went up, and then what kind of made it go more like spidey sense, like what's happening?
I would say it was still a combination of things, but parents were not letting their kids figure stuff out. I was just very concerned. And oddly enough, something that what I felt was more subconscious was how long they were carrying their children's backpacks.
Stop it.
Small to some, huge for me. What you are teaching your child, there's a lot of opportunities to teach them. It's your backpack.
Yeah.
If you need help, if it's too heavy, let's talk about, do you need a rolling backpack? I remember my son asked for a rolling backpack. Great. Didn't work for him. So he switched back. But you have to carry your own, this is your stuff.
Yeah.
You have to figure out how to carry it. Now, we can work together again, but they were too old for the parents to still be. So those were, to me, subtle things that made me say, oh, well, that I can understand why you don't have chores.
You're not even carrying your backpack.
Not even carrying your backpack. And so what I feel is I'm a very community-centered human being. And I'm like, you guys are all my kids. What's going to happen when you guys get older? You can't, your parents can't baby you. I got to figure something out. I didn't know still what it was going to be, but I knew I was able to be more present. So I did an enrichment program at the school and things like that, just to kind of help students and kind of figure out who they were and giving them other things to be responsible and how they could contribute.
How would you model that to them in those beginning days? What would be like an activity you would have the kids do?
Well, earlier on when they were younger, the enrichment programs were creative based. I did a lot of Black history programs for the whole school. You had roles, we had auditions, we had documentaries. So there were all these kinds of ways that students can do things that they didn't do in the classroom. Some were the kids who kind of had to sit in the corner.
Right.
They're always in trouble. But this time, now you get to work on the crew, or you actually have a leading role. But you have responsibilities. And giving them ownership, but also community and an expectation really kind of shifted how they saw themselves.
And you know what? I bet they were so excited when they would have your workshop days or the enrichment days.
I was so popular.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh. They used to run up to me, Miss Hughes. And I was like, oh my God, this made such a difference.
Yeah.
It would be the ones who were considered to have problems or
the troublemakers.
Yeah. And those are the ones that it really stood out to me, how just a simple shift and how they're able to show up and how they're able to work together. And it's because they felt like they were a part of something and that they could make an impact. And that's really kind of the foundation
of where it came. And then how did it grow from there?
After that, my kids got older, so I attempted to insert those types of offerings in high school. And I was able to in certain capacities, but I said, ooh, red tapes, too much red tape. Let me figure out how we're going to do this as an organization for kids from any school who can come and be a part of this.
And then was that, daunting for you to be like, I'm building a nonprofit? How did that begin as from an enrichment class all the way to now working? All right, now I have an entire institute.
Right. The name came first.
Okay.
And when institute was in the name, that's when it kind of hit me like, oh, okay, you're building something. Because if you have institute in the name, you got to really build this thing out. And then COVID hit.
Oh boy.
And I said, oh, okay, so now I have time. So that's what what are you going to, we're trying to figure out what you're going to do during COVID. I was furloughed. The kids we had to figure that out.
School.
But I had the ability to go into my office area for the day. They had their spaces. And I said, I guess this is what I'm supposed to do with this time.
Yeah.
Is to build this thing out.
Do you think a lot of adult parents right now underestimate Gen Z? Because I have two Gen Zers too. My daughter's 18 and my son is 15. And how old are your teens?
20 and 18.
Okay, so that's Gen Z. Do you feel like holding the backpacks and not giving them chores is underestimating this generation's potential?
Absolutely. I believe a lot of parents, we're just trying to fill sources of pain in areas where there were a lot more difficulties in their lives and in their past, but they were crippling their children. Like they're so much more capable than we give them credit for. And yes, they have a lot more help than we had, and I think that's part of why parents do underestimate. But fundamentally, we're human, and it's really about how you kind of do it in your house, and then how you do it in your communities. And your children are watching.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
And so you really do have the ability to navigate. Of course, some kids are completely different than their parents, and it's just like random. I don't get this person. But for the most part, you're modeling. You got to listen to them. You got to pay attention to who they are, and you guys can figure it out. But they definitely have a lot more potential and ability than I think we give them credit for.
Yeah, I think so too. I definitely see their ability to problem solve approaching a problem is so different than.
Period.
And to me, when I would approach a problem, I first approached it with like, oh, I'll never figure this out. But that's just my own, imposter syndrome, but my son is like, oh, well, that must be broken if it's not working. Or it could be you. That's like the same difference. He would blame the problem and not his ability to solve it. Where I blamed me, not the problem.
Ooh, that's good.
So that was to me, that's the biggest switch. And maybe that's gender. I don't know. But that's something I've noticed.
That's a great skill set.
Gen Zs look at it as like, well, that's the problem. I'm not the problem.
Yes. And that is actually great to be able to separate that you're not the source, because that gives you a lot more pliability to say, well, then there's a solution.
Yeah. And when you started creating Grace and Wisdom and the programming behind it, what was something consistent you saw across the different teams you worked with?
That they all really just needed space. Anytime you give them a little more space to navigate, they're afraid at first, but that's their first challenge. And with that first challenge, by the end of the workshop or the end of the series of workshops, they've already overcome all these little small challenges that a lot of times are personal and internal, but they were given space. Where there wasn't this one way of doing things. We were asking you questions. We were giving you responsibilities, things that you have to figure out. And at minimum, they had confidence.
Yeah.
And security.
And agency.
Yeah.
So what, when you were starting with the program, so like say I have a 16-year-old, I do, a 15-year-old, and I'm like, I need to get her into something like this. What's the process a parent has to first recognize in their kid to be a part of Grace and Wisdom?
What the parent needs to first realize is they're not listening to you as much anymore. But that's part of the development phase that they're in. Stop taking it personally. You can really try to ram it in, but that's not where really they're at anymore. So when you realize, oh, I just need to have more tribe members and another vehicle to still implement the same thing that I'm saying to Anne, she's not listening to you. So she can still figure that out and get the same messaging, but she just needs a different environment where she's going to be able to have that moment. So when you realize, oh, she needs other environments, right? Then you can look at things what other things are being implemented to help her grow as a person. There's fundamentals that everybody needs to know. It doesn't matter that you are into aviation and that I'm into painting. We still need to know how to problem solve. We need to know how to work in teams. We need to know how to be self-aware. And so that's what's the beauty of our organization, is that we're not looking for all like a cookie cutter type of person. We're looking for that diversity, because that's the real world. And we need to be able to navigate these skills and come to these in community, be able to collaborate. And so first realizing again that you don't have to be the one to get all the things. You just lay the foundation for your kid. Now it's time. That's what community, neighborhoods, other organizations are for.
Coaches, churches.
Team sports. Until I had a boy, I didn't realize how important it was. But okay, so that's one area. So if I have a son who plays athletics, who's in athletics, or a daughter, just think about some of the other things that you want them to be really great at, and find an environment for them. It doesn't have to be you.
Right.
That's I think we put a lot on ourselves as the parent to be responsible for. But at the teen point, not listening to you like that.
No. And there are times when I'll say something, but my son's coach will say the exact same thing. And he's like, he's a genius.
Right.
And it's like, I said the same thing. Okay, I love Coach Gary.
Precisely. Exhibit A. A.
Exactly.
It's amazing how you go, is that right? Is that what they said? Okay, that's great. That was like 4 weeks ago.
Right.
Okay.
Like, I'm shocked. I know.
The aha moment also has to be their aha moment. Because again, they're trying to develop a sense of independence. So just again, you're providing an environment for them to do that.
Entrepreneurs, listen up. Are you stuck trying to DIY your website and marketing only to end up frustrated and spinning your wheels? Stacy Beeman of Bee Woman Marketing gets it. She helps passionate business owners like you ditch the overwhelm and go back to your zone of genius. From strategic websites and automated marketing systems to branding, logo design, messaging, and social media strategy, she handles it all. Stacy has supported coaches, consultants, nonprofits, authors, educators, and your girl, Carrie Murray. So stop Googling how to embed a form or set up an email funnel and start growing your business. Visit bewomanmarketing.com and mention Carrie On, and you get 10% off of a strategy session with Stacy.
For women who want more than just a getaway, Two Peacocks Travel offers transformative journeys that blend adventure, connection, and empowerment. Imagine wandering the colorful streets of Morocco with new friends, sharing stories over a meal in Peru, or conquering a new challenge with the encouragement of a supportive travel group. These experiences aren't just about places. They're about people, growth, and creating traditions that extend beyond the trip. It's time to travel with purpose and find your travel bestie and make an unforgettable memories. Join the movement at twopeacockstravel.com.
And you are providing a safe environment also that they can be vulnerable. They can feel like they're asking the dumb questions and maybe for the first time raise their hand because they're too afraid in a classroom, especially girls, because girls diminish themselves around 7th grade. And they don't usually come back. They're so afraid to not be liked. They dumb down. They don't want to perform as well. Not all. I don't want to make the assumption. But do you specifically have programming for teen girls, or is it just all teens included?
We have an emphasis on teen girls of color, so they definitely get their own specialty programming. The programs that are for all teens are financial literacy, community service, and career and professional development. We've done some civic engagement, and that's also for everyone. But things that are more centered around empowerment and women's issues, we have things for the girls so that they can create that sisterhood. And again, like you said, that safe space for them to develop. And then you have your middle school versus your high school. And so if they are 13 and 14, the programming is going to be a little different.
Yeah, sure. And have you seen like a girl who's gone through the whole program get ready to graduate? And what do you have any like success stories you can share of someone because have you had the student come back to you yet and say, thank you, Miss Hughes?
I never let them go, I will admit. So we have a core 4. So these are the first 4 girls whose parents let me during COVID have them come out and do some programming with our masks, outdoors as much as possible.
6 feet away.
Right. We did all the things. We did a lot of outdoor activities. And that core 4, we lost one actually, and she's no longer with us. But the other 3 are still evolved. So they have built so much confidence. Again, you're already bright, but it's really what you believe, right? We know more about the student and their potential, but it's more about them being able to see it within themselves. And they have become so confident. They've really seen, wow. And then they went into college and they knew a lot of things. It wasn't the first time. And they were so excited. And then now they come back and the kids who were going to college, now they sit on a panel and they give them the advice.
So they're mentoring.
They're mentoring now.
So that is the full circle. That is the hand that's reaching back to bring the next generation up. Wow. How old are they now then with these 3?
They are 20. They are 20 years old. So it's funny because it's like, okay, you guys are technically not teens. So let's continue to transition you into leadership so that we can move back again and take another set of girls all the way through.
I love that. And you bring in a lot of guest speakers, a lot of programming, because you can't all do it yourself.
No.
Yeah.
And the receipts need to be from the professionals. It's important. It's always career day at Grace and Wisdom, and we never say it's career day. So everyone who leads a workshop, I would say at least 95% is someone they haven't met before, someone who's a professional working in a space that is somewhat related to whatever the topic is. Because again, life skills are transferable, and that's something that we always want to demonstrate as well. It's like, we're talking about health, so we're going to probably get a doctor for that or a nurse. But this person who is a coach can actually talk a lot about self-awareness And Crystal is one of our contributors, and she leads wellness sessions.
Wow.
And so it's important for them to see the range of how you can apply said skills in your life in these different professions.
Yeah. And you've actually gone farther than that because you got a group together and collaborated with two peacocks and took some kids to Spain.
Yeah.
So how do you prepare them not only to have their own agency and confidence, but like, okay, now you're going to in a whole nother culture and getting them there. I mean, did you have trepidations about that? Or were you just like, we're going to equip you to not be a crazy American and sticking out?
Yeah.
Looking for McDonald's, although that's kind of fun to find when you're
It's very fun
to see what the menu is. But what kind of like, when did you know like, okay, we need to take this and really go a step further?
Actually, Gawi Global came to me in the very early stages of development of the Grace and Wisdom Institute. It was like, oh my God, I created a logo. It's not the logo now, and then I kind of put it to the side. I didn't know anything more about, but yeah, we got to do something global. Yeah. And then as those core 4 girls in particular, we were watching our success. And it's like, well, you'd actually be an eligible candidate because you've actually done the work. And so that actually became more of a reality because of the Broad Network. Mm-hmm. And once we were introduced to two peacocks, that reality was like this, like, oh my God, we can actually really do this. They had the same alignment in terms of being able to equip students and giving opportunity and kind of eliminating some of those barriers for our students who are students of color who don't actually get the opportunity to really navigate what it looks like internationally to a much later phase in their life. We said, we can do this. You want to do this? Okay, let's go. I know at least a certain number of students in my program who I'll feel confident enough that now they can take this ride. And then they had to also figure themselves out, but in a new way.
Yeah. But I mean, they had to figure out, I need a passport.
Yes.
I'm going to need to exchange money. Why doesn't my Wi-Fi work and my data plan? Like, so you're teaching beyond life skills here in Los Angeles, yes. But now I'm taking it and how do I ask where the bathroom is? Yes. And simple things like that. Getting a cab. Why can't I just Uber and Postmates?
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, it was theirs to figure out. And again, that aha moment, it's those important aha moments that the individual needs to have for themselves. And then they get so much more confidence. Mm-hmm. And every time you get more confidence, you're more motivated. You're willing to take more risk. You're willing to take another challenge. You're willing to even think more creatively because you don't feel diminished. You don't feel low. You feel like, well, I'm capable of doing anything. I was able to do this. So no parents, no, you can't go. I actually didn't even go. And people were surprised. I said, they have to go. They have to be 18. They have to go by themselves now. It's time. We have to let the birdies go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you focus a lot on adaptability, critical thinking, self-awareness. What do teens typically, high schoolers specifically, what do they kind of like, when do they have that like, okay, you're right? Like, how do you convince them? Because it's got to be hard to be like, okay, you can figure this out when they're just like, no, I'll just chat GPT or, whatever. How did you give them that?
That's tricky because there's definitely pushback. I believe our poignant age is 17 because that's when they're either in 11th grade, some are 12th graders. They know that there's something coming. They know something's ending and they're going to have to figure something out.
Yeah.
So they're a little more open to receiving a little help now because it gets real. It gets real when you're 17 and you're in 11th grade and they're giving you all this talk about your future and all the stuff's coming at you. It gets very real. And that's when they really start to ask questions. They're much more willing to do certain programming that they weren't willing to do before. Because a lot of our students, we meet them because of community service. That's our big draw. Like anyone can do it. You guys come on in. And that's one of their favorite things, actually, too.
Oh, okay.
They love doing community service because they can see direct impact immediately. Mm-hmm. That's theirs. They can own that. They feel empowered and they know they helped. But 17, to me, that's like.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's also, you're right. There's something about to end and something is going to begin. What would you recommend? Not that my audience is for teenagers, but for those parents who have teenagers who are getting ready to graduate and they want to start having their first job. And, how do we prep them for a career And that isn't necessarily the college path, like the resume of it all. Like, what do they do?
The first thing you want to do is make sure that you are having conversations and leaving conversations where they have to do some critical thinking. That's something that we give them space to do, because that is really the key to how they're going to have to navigate everything else moving forward. And then that gives them the adaptability skills. That gives them the self-awareness if you are implementing critical thinking as a normal function of life. So having conversations with open-ended questions and not forcing your child or your teen to answer it, just kind of planting seeds, conversation, then you can circle back. But give them a minute to think about it. And then that's a great opportunity to say, hey, I found this workshop that's taking place. You wanna give it a try? After you've already planted the seed, after you've already asked them a question that they don't have the answer to right away.
Right.
Oh, I guess, yeah, okay. They'll be a lot more open because they know they don't have the answer. But they know it is time. It is time for me to figure something out.
Yeah. And at Grace and Wisdom, you're preparing them not only for life with life skills and adaptability skills, critical thinking, but you're showing them how they can be used in the workplace. And if they decide not to go to college, do you have a lot of like career prep, like things that they practice interviewing? Because I feel like everything is everything is like, I'm on my phone, I'm here, I'm face down, don't look at me.
Yeah.
Like, do you have that part in Grace and
Yes.
Wisdom? I love that. And it's not, college isn't for everyone. It
No,
really
it is
isn't.
not. And we are not an academic program. We are huge. We believe in college, and we want to support that if that's your decision. But more than that, you still got to be ready. So career and professional development, you still need to know how to communicate. You need to have the confidence to speak. You need to know what eye contact is. And so we have career and professional development classes as well.
That's amazing. That's really great. What's like a skill you wish every teen, walked into that interview with after being in your program? What do you hope that if they had at least one thing they picked up, they go into that interview, what's that skill you hope they have?
Interview, I'd say their communication skills, but I'd also still say emotional intelligence.
EQ.
That is going to help settle you to be able to make some decisions before and after the interview.
Yeah, and then make a decision of, I did one interview, don't I get the job? Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, you might have to do a couple
And
of
not
them.
falling apart
Yeah.
and saying, I'm never doing another job interview. No, knowing that it's okay.
Yeah.
That was just one of many. And there's some takeaways. And then I have some kind of community, someplace where I can go and kind of share this, and maybe I can get some feedback.
What's your vision for Grace and Wisdom in the next 5 to 10 years?
I would love to see Grace and Wisdom Institute actually be able to serve at least like an increase of 50% of students. Maybe have a few states in a couple of different states, some regional outsourcing, and really, we want to be bigger so that we can serve more students because we see the results, and all these kids are going to be in charge. They're going to be in Congress.
Yeah, they're going to be taking care of us when we're old, by the way.
And so that was one of the other big things that I said, it can't just be my kids who can figure it out. Their entire community of peers needs to figure it out because they're really going to be in charge and they're going to be making important decisions. And we want them to know how to make those decisions. And so we need them. We need Gawies everywhere.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
And the kids they always say, how come we didn't learn any of this in school?
Yeah.
How come they don't teach us any of this? And they kind of get upset because they're like, this is good.
Yeah.
Why wasn't I learning this before?
Because you have to learn algebra too? I don't know. Like, it's an excellent question. And it is a broken system. And I hope that they find the confidence from being in your program to be like, wait, we can do something different because look how great this program is. Why aren't we having classes like this?
Right.
If I want to study sociology, why am I not taking a gender studies workshop at school? Instead, I'm doing, don't get me started. I could talk about that.
I said, I have to be careful what I say on the podcast because that's going to be another.
Right. I can, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating. So I love the work that you do at Grace and Wisdom Institute. I want to know, I know you have big plans coming up with a trip to Kenya.
Yes.
Went to Spain. And so tell us about this trip.
So this is our second Gawi Global international journey that we are producing for our students. Now, if you are a student in our program, this is one of the big aspirational things that you can do. So if you're in our program for at least a year, you have the opportunity to travel abroad. And we are partnering with another organization this year, and we're sending 5 young ladies to Kenya. And this time it is all about the ladies. This is a women's empowerment trip. So there'll be some adult travelers as well who can kind of serve as travel mentors. And they are going to all be collaborating, doing workshops, leadership. And of course, we're going to do some exploring in the beautiful country of Kenya as well.
Incredible.
And so our students who are going these are our college age students now. And so they're going to be able to do some health workshops and things that are related to the career paths that they are actually following. So not only will they be able to do a service project for the students and the young people in Kenya, but they're going to be, once again, empowered as they're going to start to really be able to activate this career path that they're taking in a leadership role.
I love that. So people watching this right now, my audience, if they're like, I have skills I can help. I want to do a workshop. I want to help fund this. I want to be a part of this. How do the adults get involved with GOWI?
We need more adults. We need more professional contributors.
Who do you need? Let's call it out right now.
We need people who work in marketing. We need our financial literacy is never enough. So we need the financial industry. We'd love to have more CEOs that also speak to our students. And also we have a lot of students who are interested in healthcare. So physicians, we want research. We want to see more students get into the field of research for healthcare. So we'd love to have those.
Do you know Dr. Portia?
No,
Preston?
I do not.
Okay, she did an episode. I met her through Crystal. She teaches at Cal State Fullerton. I'll connect you to. She's phenomenal. She does all it's health and wellness. Okay. It's a whole course on health and wellness. It's like one of the first ever in a UC.
Wow.
She would be great. She lives in Long Beach. Okay.
Amazing.
I'm going to introduce you. Okay, so everyone, that's our call to action. If you are a professional, particularly in the healthcare industry, you want to give back, we encourage you to come volunteer, meet Kesha, get in front of these students and inspire them, especially if you're a woman. What if you're like, I'm watching this in Chicago. Can I just donate money?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're actually looking to raise still about $25,000 for the trip because we want to make sure these girls can go and that the costs are very minimal. They got to get their passports and things of that nature, but there are a lot of fees just associated with that, and they got to get to New York to be able to fly to Kenya. So their plate is already full, and so we're looking for people to help support and sponsor them to go on the trip.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here. Tell all the people where we can find you to donate. I'll put it in the show notes and all the things. But real quick, if somebody's listening to this in the car.
Thank you, Carrie. So we can be found at graceandwisdominstitute.org. And on Instagram, we're at Grace and Wisdom Institute.
Thank you so much. This was so fun.
Thank you so much for seeing us and believing in us. And what we try to teach our students is that community is really important and giving back. And you really exemplify that with the way that you've threaded all of these women. And it's really impacted our organization. So thank you so much.
I'm happy to do it. It's really natural for me. I'm a natural collector. My background's in social work. So when I saw what you were doing, I was like, we have to shine a light on this even bigger than I'm providing you right now. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe. Actually, comment below if you are in healthcare. Put like a little red cross or something, and you want to like get involved with this because we really need your support. And as always, keep your head above the chaos and carry on.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Carrie On. Be sure to find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And as always, like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. And don't forget to keep your head above the chaos and carry on.